Hi, my name is Jeff Arch. I have two movies that were out this year. One was called Sleepless in Seattle, which was an original story of mine, and another one was called Iron Will, which was a Disney movie that I was hired to rewrite. Since you guys are high school kids, you probably didn't see it because it's a Disney movie and you're too cool. First thing you need to know about writing is you don't need this tie. I'm only wearing it tonight because there's a party. Some writers down there are not wearing their ties. Some of them are. Right now I'm using it to hold up this microphone. So first of all, if you want to lead an unconventional life, writing is the way to go. I'm told that this is going to feature interviews with other writers and that they're going to show pictures of Hollywood and the streets and the parties and the awards. First thing I want to tell you is even though it's great to be nominated for a Writers Guild Award and an Academy Award this year, that is not what it's about. When I was in high school, I wanted the kind of life that I have right now. I had no idea about how to get it. It isn't about awards. I thought it was, and it took me a long time to get it straight in my head that what it's really about is finding your voice and learning how to tell a story. Whether you want to write for television, whether you want to write for the movies, whether you want to write novels, plays, poems, greeting cards, the thing you have to do is figure out how to bring out what's inside of you. And every single one of you is different, and maybe a whole bunch of grown-ups in your life are coming and telling you this stuff, but the fact is, we're not stupid about this. This is true. Every single one of you is different. Every single one of you has a story to tell, and all these people are trying to hand you tools, and maybe some of the tools are going to work for you, and maybe some of the tools are not going to work for you. It's your job to find your own among the ones that are offered to you and among the ones that aren't. I got to tell you, I tried all the conventional ways of, I went to school. I did not go to school to learn writing. Writing is just something I kind of came in with. I had a talent for that ever since I was a kid. Nobody really knew what to do with it. I could always write my way out of any kind of a spot all through school, all through college. I learned how to be a filmmaker in college. And how to make a movie, and it really has helped as a writer to know what everybody's concerns are. It didn't help as a storyteller, because as a storyteller, it goes back to probably some of the stuff you might be ignoring that your English teachers and stuff are telling you, which is that a story has to have a beginning and a middle and an end, and it has to have a character that you care about. And you have to figure out how to get out all the exposition, which is all the information that an audience needs to know in order to appreciate and understand and get something out of the story. I personally, probably like any writer that you're going to talk to or listen to, I hate exposition. I can't stand it. It's like the worst homework in the world. But you learn artful ways to deal with it, and you learn ways to just like exposition is part of writing that I don't really like a lot. There's a whole lot about life that you're not going to really like a lot, but it's there. It's there with everything else. So what you have to do is learn how to manage the parts that you don't like and make friends with them somehow. I once heard someone say that the difference between a winner and a loser is that a winner is willing to do the things that a loser is not willing to do. I wish someone told me that in high school. I might have blown them off if they did, but I wish someone told me that so that it would have stuck with me, because that's really the truth. There are people downstairs in this room right now who have been nominated for Writers Guild Awards, and the Writers Guild is a union for writers. There is nothing you've ever seen on television or in a movie that wasn't written by a member of the Writers Guild. How to get into the Writers Guild: you write something that somebody wants to buy, and you're in. Basically, there's a little bit more to it, but basically, that's how you get into Writers Guild. It is not like the technical craft unions. It is not like the Directors Guild. It's not like the Cameraman's Union. Editors, the writers control the material that all these other people make. And there's an incredible sense of power and authority that comes with that. Once you sell something, you don't really have a whole lot of power and authority because you're a writer. And that's the way it works. But you have power because you are creating a world, and you are learning, you can learn, and I guess if you want to be a writer, you'd better learn how to get that world onto a piece of paper, how to get people to care about a story. If you guys are in the inner city, or if you're in the suburbs, no matter where you are, Like I said before, you have a story. There is something that makes you unique. And 10 of you in the same class could write 10 different stories about being in a high school class, and they'll all come out different because you're all different. So on one hand, find the ways that you're like everybody else. On the other hand, find the ways that you're different from everybody else. Somewhere in there is a story. And remember the stuff that stinks. You got to have a beginning, you got to have a middle, you got to have an end. If you want my advice, think of the end first. If any of you saw Sleepless in Seattle, that movie came to me basically in a couple of hours. Nothing that I've done since has come that quickly, but it came to me in a couple of hours because I thought, what about the end? If you saw it, it's about two people who do not meet for the entire length of the picture, and they finally do meet on the last page of the movie on top of the Empire State Building on Valentine's Day. And when I thought of that, I knew that is such a great ending that I got to figure out a beginning and a middle to go with it. But when I knew where I wanted to go, which is kind of like a thing for your lives, if you only knew where you wanted to go, you might have an inkling of a clue about how to get there. But I knew exactly where I wanted to go, and I knew the way screenplays are structured, you have 120 pages to get there. It's not a novel. You can't go on forever. And it was a love story. Love stories have requirements. Action stories have requirements. Detective stories have requirements. Family stories have requirements. Cartoons have requirements. You need to learn what those requirements are. You need to find instructors who may be sitting right in front of you, who may be somebody you have to go to a library actually and read a book about them. If you're in a big city, I'm sure there's seminars and all kinds of avenues. I got to tell you, I spent my early 20s ignoring all the things that I'm telling you about now. I thought I was too big to go to some seminar to learn how to write a movie. I thought I'd teach myself. I did teach myself. It took me a long time. Then I got humble and started going to all these seminars and finding out what I had taught myself all along, that there was a name for it. It might have saved me some time. I'd like to save you some time. And just be open and be humble and be curious. And as long as you remember humility and curiosity, the whole world is going to come to you. If you assume that you know nothing and that every single person that comes into your path is your teacher in some way, whether they're checking out stuff at the supermarket or whether you're buying a magazine from them or whether they're your teacher or whether it's a school doctor or school nurse or whatever it is, your little brother or sister, if you assume that every person has at least one thing to teach you and you look for that, you're going to end up learning a whole lot. And if you stay curious, and instead of being bored, if you turn that into, instead of I'm bored, I'm curious, then you can look at a carpet and figure out, how do they make this thing? How many things to an inch are there? And it's better than being bored. But you just start asking questions. When you ask yourself the right questions, you get the right answers. Sooner or later, it takes practice. It takes time. It takes a lot of patience. One thing you absolutely have to know, if you want to write for movies, and if you want to write for television, if you want anything to do with show business, you're going to get hurt. And that's important to know. You're going to get hurt. The difference is, learn how to get hurt, learn how to get embarrassed, learn how to get all these things, and learn how to get up. Because the only people that you really are competing against are the people that know how to get up after they've been hurt. Because 95% of the people just shine on it and find something else to do as soon as they've been hurt one time. So getting hurt isn't bad. Getting your heart broken isn't bad, as long as it makes you stronger. What I deal with a lot is the emotional life of characters. I don't write big action films. I don't write for Mel Gibson, in Lethal Weapon 5 and Lethal Weapon 7. And if I were to write about Lethal Weapon 5 and Lethal Weapon 7, it would be what's going on inside the character, not so much running out of a burning building. A lot of writers in town can do that. That's really not my strength. I'm going to close, but I just want to say one more thing. In basketball, they always used to tell you, learn how to dribble with both hands. Most guys didn't. Most guys said, well, I'm right-handed or I'm left-handed. I'm just going to get really good at the thing that I'm good at. That's not enough. You have to get great at the thing you're good at, and you have to get good at the thing you're bad at. And the worst thing you will ever be is good, as long as you do not coddle your weaknesses, turn them into strengths, or turn them into at least something neutral, so that your very worst is still something good, and you're going to be fine. You got to take heart. You're going to get beat up. Learn how to get back up, and treat the world with kindness, and it'll treat you with kindness eventually. maybe not case by case, but the nicer you are, the more kind you are, that stuff comes back to you. And a lot of people are going to offer you shortcuts. A lot of people are going to offer you opportunities to get somewhere quicker, and maybe it's going to involve doing something kind of lousy to somebody else, whether they know about it or not. I got to tell you, that stuff follows you around. And if I had gotten where I am right now, having taken a shortcut, it wouldn't feel as good as it does right now. Because I got to tell you, the best feeling right now is not that I might win an Academy Award next week, although let's face it, that's going to feel great. The best feeling is, it took me until I was 39 years old to do this, and maybe at 29 I could have done it by screwing somebody, but I didn't want to do that. And I'm much happier because this is a pure victory. Whether I win this thing or not, it feels great because I did it myself with a lot of help, but I did it myself. I took my own advice. I listened to everything that was out there, and I only did what made sense to me. When you do something that isn't consistent with what you really feel, whether it works or not, if it works, you're going to feel like, yeah, you know, but that was somebody else's, you know, program. And if it doesn't work, you're going to feel even worse. You have to stay consistent with what your own feelings are. You have to trust your own feelings, but you also have to support your own feelings by living right, acting right, being right. And that takes experience. Final thing, someone told me once, success is the result of good judgment. Good judgment is the result of experience. Experience is the result of bad judgment. That's all I got to say. I hope to see everybody else who's watching this thing at the Academy Awards up there one day making your speech like I hope to make mine. Thanks a lot.